guys. My name is Vasanth. I'm a NEET expert and I teach NEET aspirants to achieve their dreams. And I have a 9+ years of experience in teaching people for competitive examinations. And today we're going to discuss upon a particular topic on 9th standard syllabus, like why do we follow? And we have a previous video. So if you have not watched that video, I would suggest you to watch that video so that you will be able to follow this up. So let's quickly get into the video. So allow me some time. I hope everybody is able to see my screen. Okay. So today in this video, we are going to see some of the topics which are we are gonna have a descriptive idea of what is inflammation and what are the principles of treatments and what is antibiotics, and then introduction towards immune system and what are vaccines, and we're gonna have some brush upon some bacterial diseases. So let's quickly get into the first topic, which is inflammation. So inflammation is swelling. So why does this take place? And what is the cause of it, and what was the effect that causes this? So inflammation is actually an immune response. So that's what is mentioned over here already. Okay. So what is an immune response? Immune response is for an action which has happened in our body, that's a counteraction. Okay, that our immune system, our defense system actually works upon. So when it comes to any harm that is done to our body, okay, let's say here an example, a thorn is actually attached on your skin. So in this case, when the thorn touches, you can understand that at the tip of the thorn actually touches, you can see a lot of foreign particles that has been invading, that has entered into the body. So these foreign particles could be anything. So it could be disease causing, and it could be even toxic, and it could be any unnecessary stuff. So our body's defense system is designed such a way that any particle or any material which actually enters into our body, it has to be removed so that it will not harm our body at any cost. So such alertive reaction, okay, results in inflammation. So in this process, the body attempts to remove harmful stimuli and start the curing process. So in this case, it will just accumulate. So in the process of swelling, the signaling, will actually alert the immune system, and the immune system based WBCs will actually come to that place and then neutralize the threat, which could be caused by the harmful chemical substances or any substances that has entered into the body, which has stimulated the stimulus towards harmfulness. Okay, so inflammation is usually in the location where the the injury is, or the cause of the infection is usually. So that's why it is a localized reaction. So what has happened? You can see in that skin, there is a lot of redness. You see that redness, and then there is swelling, there is warmth, and painfulness. So these are 4 things that is actually experienced in the process of inflammation. So there are several things. There are several things which could also be causing inflammation, and they are being categorized into 2 parts. One will be acute, another one will be chronic. So when you say acute is for a short duration, and chronic is long duration. So in this case, the inflammation is going to stay for how long, which means that the problem or the cause or the problem which has caused the inflammation, how big is that, how bad is it? So based on which it is going to be decided whether it is going to be acute or chronic. How worse is the problem, damage. So that much duration, that will be the duration of the inflammation will be for. Okay, so this is what you should know about inflammation. So the next thing that you're going to learn about is principles of treatment. So there are several ways of treatment, but what you should understand is there are 2 important ways through which the treatment is actually carried out. The first most important part is a doctor would always prescribe medicines to ease out the effects that is caused by the disease condition. Okay, usually the pain, okay, and fever, and then stomach ache. Like it could be any of these two. Mostly these two only. So they will just take care of the effects that is causing or caused by the disease condition. So that is the reducing the effect of disease. And later, once after they have taken down the effects of disease or reduced the effect of disease, then they will swoop in with the or killing the removing or taking care of the cause of the disease condition. So usually when you go for stomach upset, okay, when you go for stomach upset, a doctor gives you medicine, okay, first, or you'll go telling him that you have fever. So first the doctor will check, when are you having fever, what time are you having fever, and then what is the temperature, and everything, every detail will be checked. So later the doctor will be giving you antibiotics. This is for reducing fever. This is reduced fever. And if you have pain, he will give you analgesics usually. So that gives you pain removal. So later then they will ask you when is this periodic, is it periodic, or is it extensive, is it happening all the time with the fever and the pain? If it is going to be periodic only in the evening, then he will actually ask for a test done on malaria. So then if it is proved to be malaria, then he will suggest an anti-malarial drug. If not, if it is not found out that whether it is a malarial or something like that, then he will go for urine test and sputum test, stool test, and that gives you what kind of bacterial, is it a bacterial disease or anything like that. So if that is confirmed, then he will suggest an antibiotic. So if the antibiotic is not working, then he will go for antiseptics. So antiseptics are drugs which is going to be applied on cuts and stuff. So if usually it will end in all these four. So if it is an open wound, then they will go for antiseptics. That is usually antiseptic cream or antiseptic liquid that is usually used to literally sanitize or the place near the wound, just to make sure that the open wound doesn't allow the entry of any kind of disease. So that's what the function of antiseptic is. So this is what the principle of treatment is basically two things. One, taking care of the effect of the disease, and then taking care of the cause of the disease. So first is the effect. So effect is taken care first, and then the cause is taken care first. These are the principles of treatment. So next thing that you're going to learn about is antibiotic. So antibiotic is actually a word which is very easily understandable first. So we split the word to two, which is anti and biotic. Anti means against. Against. Biotic means living. So there are several living processes. Okay, so in a nutshell, antibiotics are against living. So against life. So any substance which are going to be synthesized by one organism to have an opposing hand on the other microorganism, or to kill the other microorganism, is actually called antibiotic. So antibiotic is usually produced by one microorganism to have an upper hand over another microorganism is called antibiotics usually. So now when we found out that it is actually this antibiotic chemical substance is actually having an upper hand over the other microorganisms. So when those microorganisms on whom the antibiotics have an upper hand, when we are being infected with that bacteria or any other stuff, so then we can extract and isolate this antibiotic and we can consume them, with which we can suppress the disease-causing microorganism in our body. So that is why we consume antibiotics whenever you have infections, so bacterial infection especially. So what is the function of antibiotics? So we have understood that it is antibiotic, against living. So what does it do? Against living of what? That is actually a very big question mark. About what? So the answer is that our living usually happens in several ways. First, the cell is enclosed by a protective layer. Okay, so that is cytoplasmic membrane structure. So if that integrity is lost, then the cell will be lost. And if it is going to have cell wall, then cell wall will be damaged. Then the protection will be like utterly gone. And then DNA is DNA mechanism that literally helps in the process of expressing characteristics. So those those enzymes are also going to be there. So when these enzymes are going to be taken care, and then ribosomes are going to be taken care. So it's literally you have a lot of mechanism for the characteristics to express. So when you attack each and every characteristic, so there are different chemical substances, which means antibiotics, which is going to attack or spoil them from expressing its characteristics at different places. So these are these chemical substances, so which is not going to allow the survival of this microorganism. So that is why it is called antibiotic. So in a nutshell, the antibiotic blocks the biochemical processes that is used, that is going to allow the bacteria to survive. So usually you are always taught that it blocks the cell wall synthesis. So as a result of which, the outer protective layer of bacteria will be gone, and the protection is totally lost. So as a result of which, it is susceptible to be killed or infected or anything. So that is the function of antibiotics usually. Okay, I hope every one of you have understood what is antibiotics. Antibiotic is against living any chemical substance that is actually usually synthesized by a microorganism to defend itself from other harmful microorganisms. So when we have understood the need or the cause of it, or the function of it, we have started making those antibiotics using those bacteria as labor, and then these antibiotics are extracted. And when we are going to have any infection in the bacterial infection, anything like that, so we consume these antibiotics just to suppress the bacteria that is causing disease, okay, by stopping or intervening their biochemical processes. So that is the function of antibiotics. I hope every one of you understood about antibiotics. Let's go to the next topic. Okay, shall we? So we are going to have an introduction towards immune system. So what is immune system? Any foreign agents that enters into our body, okay, anything that doesn't belong to our body, when and what do you say, when opposition is generated or shown on things that doesn't belong to your body have entered into your body. So that is actually called immune system. Okay, that is what is a function of immune system. It opposes the foreign agent and its effect. So now there are two major branches when it comes to immunity. Okay, one is innate immunity and adaptive immunity. So under innate immunity is what that is actually something that you're born with. We call it innate immunity. Okay, and adaptive immunity is something that you get after you're come inside. So after you're exposed to the thing. So these are the two main things. So on top of it, they are again classified into two. One is humoral and cellular immunity. So these are the different types of immune system that you should be knowing about. When it comes to innate immunity, it will not be specific to any kind of disease causing agent. It will be a general thing. Okay, so let's say for an example, we have a doctor. Okay, the doctor, we are having some kind of an ailment. So we go to the doctor, I am having a pain at the lower abdomen part. So he actually suggests suggests you to consult a nephrologist. So nephrologists are none other than the kidney specialist, who actually takes care of the kidney. So then they found out that the lower abdomen part, the side, the kidney is facing some kind of an issue because of the kidney stones. So if you see, the basic recognition was done by the doctor who was a general medicine, and then later he understood that it should be dealt only by the right person. So he directed us towards the right person who is a nephrologist. Likewise, the body which is actually going to have a general defense, which is called innate immunity. So when that is not taken care, okay, then our body will be in trouble. So somewhat it will get managed. After that, okay, when our body understands that this is what is going to happen, So next time when the same problem comes, so it will be ready. So there will be a particular kind of memory in which it recognizes and stores the data for what had we done, what have we done, when this particular foreign agent have entered into the body. And so likewise, the body will literally understand and store all the data, so with which it could be made more fantastic. Okay, so I hope you understood that. So this is about immune system. So the next thing is about vaccines. So vaccines, what is vaccine? So vaccine is something that that resembles the. So let's say for an example, a police station, okay, should be aware of a thief. Okay, so will we send the thief? No. If we send the thief, then the thief can be caught and kept in the cell. Okay, so instead, what do? They send a picture of him. So when they send a picture of him in different disguises, it will be easy for the the police department to literally catch the thief. So likewise, so vaccines are nothing but different parts of the microorganisms, okay, which is going to cause disease condition in our body. So when we introduce them in a non-disease causing state, okay, that's what is called non-disease causing state. So they will generate, they will not cause disease. Instead, they will cause the generation of immunity against those foreign particles who represents themselves as a defense mechanism when the live viruses or the live organisms which is going to infest or invade into our system and then try to cause disease to us. So vaccine is training our immune system for something that that is about to come. So that's what vaccine does. So it is just biological preparation, okay, that resembles a disease-causing microbe. So vaccine is a biological preparation. Here there are different types of vaccines, which is going to improve. So once after the disease is caused, if we are going to introduce that foreign agents to get them prepared, it's of no use. It's already there in your body and it is causing harm. Okay, so what if we could actually use some of the parts which is not going to be harmful for the body and then generate this kind of immune response even before we can get infected with. So that's where we use vaccines. So vaccines are different types. One is live attenuated vaccines. We just make it literally ineffective. That's called attenuation. And then inactivated means usually killed. And then this disease causing viruses usually have a lot of antigens that represents themselves. So when we use such purified structures so that it can be introduced into the body, only those things can be introduced into the body. If we introduce any other parts of the virus or anything like that, then that would cause a disease condition. So by introducing only that effect causing particles or subunits, so we call them subunit based. And then there are certain things bacteria and viruses which should be usually bacteria which generate toxic materials. So what if we generate against something against it? Okay, let's say there is a toxin which is produced and we produce an antitoxin. Okay, so that's what we do. Or instead what we do is we generate a nullifying agent. So we call it inactivated toxin or nullified effect processing toxin. The toxin which doesn't have the toxic effect or disease causing effect. So we introduce them to actually boost our immune system. So these are the stuff. These are types of vaccine that is available for our body so that our body could be aware or ready even before we get infected with. So this is what vaccines are for. I hope everybody would have understood everything clearly. So usually when a child is born or when you people are born, your mom would have strictly followed the vaccination schedule, which involves several stuff OPV, BCG vaccine, measles vaccine, and then pertussis, Bordetella pertussis, and all this is tetanus toxoid. So all these are very famous. Usually that is suggested by child doctors, child specialists. Once after the child is born, they should be having a regular periodic checks, and then this vaccines has to be injected into the baby. That's very important. And anybody who actually had an accident, they are suggested to take tetanus toxoid, which could be life-saving most of the time. Okay, so this is about vaccines. So I hope everybody would have understood about vaccine. Let's go to the next topic. So the next topic we're going to talk about is bacterial disease. So any bacteria which is going to enter into our body and cause discomfort or disease by their toxins produced, and which could cause an imbalance and then ill effects in our body, then that is caused a disease that is caused by bacteria or bacterial disease. So when the bacteria actually generates some kind of insensitivity, okay, so it also get kind of an antigen antibody reaction that is against the foreign body enters into our body. So that creates a lot of serious issues. So that's what you should know when it comes to bacterial disease. Any material that is actually secreted or the bacteria themselves is going to cause a disease condition, a discomfort in our body upon entry into the body. So that is considered as bacterial disease. So different types. Typhoid is actually an example, and tuberculosis is an example. Cholera, diphtheria, all these are bacterial diseases. So this is all about bacterial diseases. So now we'll see some of the questions what is immunity? Immunity is very easy to learn. So complex network of cells. So we have learned in this chapter called the fundamental units of life in the same class. There are different types of cells which actually perform different types of functions, and their shape and the size is based on their function. So this is the theory in which you have studied. So in this case, we have studied that blood consists of different types of cells like RBC, WBC, and platelets. And WBC have different types of cells. Okay, so these different types of cells actually takes care of the defense system in different ways. So that's what actually makes this complex. So WBC makes the complex network. Okay, so this and the protein that defends the body against the infection. The protein which they're talking about is antibody. Okay, so these two together makes a firm ground and defends us. Okay, so that's what is called immune system or immunity. Okay, so let's go to the next. What is antibiotic? I think I have already discussed about antibiotics in detail. Anti means against and biotics means living. First of all, you should remember this all the time. Okay, so antibiotics is just a chemical substance. We call it medicine. So usually antibiotics are chemicals that is consumed as medicine. I repeat, consumed as medicine that actually results in stopping the infection causing bacteria. So that is the function of bacteria, because the function of antibiotics on bacteria. So the antibiotics' function is to stop them from causing a discomfort in the human being or the host in which it has gone into. Okay, I hope you have understood about this antibiotics also. So thank you so much for your attention, guys. I hope every one of you have enjoyed the class, and don't stop yourself from just enjoying watching the videos. Join us in live classes, and I'm very sure that you will enjoy them. And once after you go through this video, you will have some doubts, and it's obvious. So you will not have anybody to ask now in the video. So instead, what you can do is, when you join us in live class, you can ask us live questions, and you'll get answers to that. Or if you want answers for your questions still, go to our website. You can ask questions in the forum, and that will be addressed in real time. Usually in less than a day or two. So usually you will get an answer from an expert. So please try to use them, and please join us on live classes whenever you can. Okay. Thank you so much for your attention. Have a nice day.